Hey, I'm Nikolai from Bunker Samples, and this is Iremia Swells Collection. So as you can hear, this is a collection of solo string swells recorded on violin, viola and cello. These were originally released as part of the Iremia series, which is a collection of solo strings that's focused entirely on very, very delicate and soft playing. Why? Because it's when we play soft that all the little details, all the little imperfections in the sound stands out. And to me, that's what makes a sound intimate. These were originally recorded as a kind of bonus to the textures and longs in that series, but they turned out to be so popular that I have now decided to release them as a standalone collection at a very affordable price. Best of all, if you decide to upgrade to the full version of one or all of the instruments in this series, you will not be paying for the same samples twice, because when you buy this collection, you receive upgrade codes that you can use to get the full version at a very, very good price. You will never pay more by buying this collection. It's a win-win. So let's see what you get. Well, you just heard the cello, and as you can see, you get 1, 2, 3 and 4 second lengths of all the articulations. Here is swells normal, which means without mute. Here, the 1 second sounds like this. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. So beautiful. And the longest, 4 seconds. Let's hear the concertino. Three seconds. 2 seconds. And 1 second. So you can hear it's 1 second up, 1 second down, 2 seconds up, 2 seconds down, and so on. Finally, you also get the swells tremolo concertino, which is still with mute, but tremolo. Very lively. And let's hear some 3 seconds. As you can see, you can switch between them with the mouse and the keyboard. You can also use the key switches, so you can program these changes in your DAW. If you want to move where these are located, you can click here and drag this little guy. And if you hold Shift on your keyboard while dragging, you can put them exactly where you want, very precisely. You can even see what the notes are. You can see C0, C sharp 0. So now I can use my keyboard to change between the articulations. So you select length here, articulation here. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you don't want to have these extra notes on the GUI, you can turn that off, or you can leave it on. Up to you. Let's go back to the viola and talk about the microphone positions. One of the defining features of Iremia is playing very, very soft. So to capture all these details, I recorded with 3 close mic perspectives, and the closest of them is actually inside the instrument itself. That's this guy here. You can solo by clicking the S, and it sounds like this. So very dark, very full sounding. We have the super close, which is right above the instrument. But obviously on the outside, like a normal microphone. Close is about 1 meter away. Mid is, as you expect, in the middle of the room. And finally, we have the far mics right at the back. So quite a lot of choice there, but why? Well, I'll show you. You can really shape the sound to whatever you like. So we can have a quite far away perspective. Let's switch to the normal and bring it a lot closer. So you can really shape and change the sound to whatever you like and need by balancing these faders in different ways. And there is one more way to change the sound. We have this button here, align sample start. Now it's on, now it's off. Basically what that means is when you record a single sound source with microphones at different lengths from the sound source, obviously you're going to have timing differences between the microphones. When this button is off, you preserve these original timing differences, and that results in a brighter and a wider sound. Sounds like this. If we turn it on, you hear it narrows the stereo perspective, but it also sounds warmer and fuller. So it's a very useful way to change the sound without using EQ. While we are at the viola, let's get a nice mix going, and let's check out the 3 seconds. The concertino, and I'll play some single notes. And let's go back and hear a bit more of the violin. The 1 second normal. And let's check out the mutes. How about some 3 second tremolo? While we're here, let's talk about the last few technical things you need to know about this engine. We have some effects. You get to them here, and as you can see, they are turned on, but you're not hearing them. Why is that? That's because these are send effects. You have to send sound to them, and this can be a bit confusing. But basically, you have to click the 3 lines under any of the microphone position, and from here we could choose to send only from the far mic to the delay and reverb, for example, and that would sound like this. So this is a very flexible system. You can choose to send just one or a few of the mics to the effects and keep the others dry and intimate. You can really shape the sound that way. Speaking of shaping the sound, we can also look at the dynamic settings. You have an expression slider that is just a volume control. It comes pre-mapped to CC11. If we look at the dynamic sliders, you will see we have 3 different things to play with here. We have a simulated dynamics. That just means that when you move the dynamic slider up, the sound gets brighter, and it gets duller when you move it down. It's more useful on the sustains and textures, which are included in the full version. Anyway, you can set the amount of that here. Dynamic range just means how much this slider also affects volume, so that can be a volume control as well. And velocity control is the most useful for these swells, because if we turn it off, no matter how hard or soft I play, I get the same volume of the swells. But if I turn this up and play soft versus playing loud, so that way you could bring out, for example, the top line of a chord if you want. Finally, I want to say that this library is not 10%. You only get these 4 lengths, 4, 3, 2, and 1 second. So what to do if that doesn't quite fit the tempo you are working in? Well, there is a solution to that, and that solution is in the Time Machine Pro pads. Every instrument also comes in a Time Machine version. The only drawback is that it uses more CPU and it uses a lot more RAM. But you can now time stretch these samples. So if we take the 1 second, and this is what it sounds like normal, but I can slow that down, or I can speed it up. Command or Control click to reset. The last thing to note is that the 4-second swells in the violin, and only in the violin, were recorded in 2 bow strokes. There is a bow change in the middle of the sample. And in the normal pads, because half the samples basically play back a little bit slower than the other half, that means that if you play a chord, sometimes that bow change isn't exactly bang on where it should be. The solution is to use the Time Machine Pro pads. So if we take the 4 seconds and play a chord, you can hear the bow change in the middle is exactly where it should be. So remember that if you're playing with the 4 seconds and the bow changes are just a little bit off, use the Time Machine pads for the 4-second violin swells. And that's it. I think this is a fantastic collection of beautiful swells. They are really, really useful for so many different things, and they are very, very inspiring. So many of my own pieces lately have started with just one of these patches. You start playing around with chords with some swells, and soon you have a whole piece of music. Very, very inspiring for me at least, but I'm obviously biased. So I've made it, as I mentioned, very affordable. There is a very generous upgrade path if you want to upgrade to the full version later. So got nothing to lose, and I hope you get to enjoy the library. See you on the next one. Bye bye.